And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of Generation Shock. You know I'm your boy, the monster, the Mike Sheck Monster, and I got my lovely co-host over there, Messiah. Goldo's still on a hiatus for a little bit longer. Hopefully he'll be back with us soon, but he may be in the group chat. So keep an eye out on the group chat if you guys want to talk to Goldo. But until then, I guess it's that time, so let's kick it.
We got the right stuff.
Hold on. Show's over before it got started, people. See, this is what happens when somebody starts running late. They mess you up. And here we go again. Kick it.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
All right, that's right, that's right, that's right. So before we go ahead and we go too far into... sorry, I'm looking at this guy texting because he's distracting me instead of paying attention.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Like he couldn't do this anytime before we start recording, but that's okay. I digress. Anyway, so before we get into the show, I do want to break into one of our old segments because there are a couple things I would like to talk about with it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about a monster week in sports. Let's kick another intro.
Gotta climb to the top, but we're never gonna stop. When the low, yeah, we going high.
All right. First off, in case anybody doesn't know, Generation Sports has been back. We're starting to do a couple fantasy football episodes. We may do some other things as well. May have other people on. But in the meantime, if you guys haven't checked it out and you're interested in fantasy football, learn a little bit about it. We did a tight end ranking. We did a QB ranking. I think next we're going to do a wide receiver ranking. And then before we build up, we'll be doing some mock drafts. We'll be doing some draft strategies, talking about tiers. A lot of cool stuff on the way with Generation Sports. I want to go ahead and give myself a plug. You know what I mean? Why not?
Yo, you know what's also funny? Congratulations on your episodes. Anyways, that I'm glad you put Tom Brady in your top 10, bro. And you guys are talking about what's it called? Fantasy league. So the fact that he's in your top 10 in the fantasy league, you wouldn't think you would pick him or put him up there.
I mean, but I have to be fair to the viewers, right? I can't just be biased because I hate the guy. The guy had 40 touchdowns last year. I think he had second most in the NFL behind Aaron Rodgers.
Plus
maybe.
won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, that has nothing to do with fantasy football. You know, there's been a lot of quarterbacks like Trent Dilfers out there that won, Super Bowls that I ain't having on my fantasy football team. That's for damn sure. But anyway, so I'm going to have to be fair about, the way they play. I mean, he did all that without getting to have an off season with the team, didn't know everybody. Everybody came back. I could see him having another stellar year, top 10 for sure. So
could you just imagine this, right? Edelman retired, but he's willing to unretire to play one season. They don't need him, so
there's been rumors and stuff, but there's nowhere for him to go on the team. Like, unless people start getting hurt, that it'd be a waste of time.
I think if someone gets hurt, they will call for him.
Maybe, yes. But when we're talking about teams and people going to new teams, there was a big trade that went down 2 days ago. Julio Jones is leaving Atlanta and heading over to Tennessee. Not a far drive, not a far flight, but he's teaming up with A.J. Brown, who made a huge push for him. Like, he talked all over social media about getting him. Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, and they're going to have a little bit of an offense over there, man. Tennessee's not looking so bad now if they can just fix their defense.
They got Mariota, right? Don't they?
Who?
Who's their quarterback? Mariota.
Wow, dude, what year are you?
I don't know. Am I really that far behind?
Yes, it's Ryan Tannehill.
That's right. It is Tannehill.
Gosh.
Yeah, it is. Damn, I said Mariota, right? How long ago was that?
That was like 3-4 years ago now, bro. Come on, he's a backup somewhere in LA.
Well, that's why you do Generation Sports, and I don't.
yeah, right. Shit. Yeah. Also, the Lakers got bounced. I know there's probably a lot of Laker haters out there and a lot of Laker lovers, but yeah, unfortunately, the Lakers are bounced, so they're out of the playoffs. They're
giving shit for LeBron James losing, right? And because everybody expects so much high of this guy, right? They expect him to win championships every year. The guy is not a robot. Plus, it's the first time in his whole career that he gets eliminated in the first round.
Yeah, but when you've never done something before, they expect you not to do it.
Yeah, but it's LeBron James. What else does he have to accomplish? He's done everything.
Yeah, but he'll never be Jordan. That's what people say.
Yeah, but that's to Jordan to what generation? Because he's the Jordan of this generation. Actually, not even this generation. The generation before this one,
I guess I could see that. I mean,
right?
everybody's
After
different.
Kobe, the generation after Kobe, he's the Jordan.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So,
So
I mean, yeah, people like me, like you, like he'll never be Jordan. That's because we grew up watching Jordan.
yeah,
But if you go specs by spec, I mean, the numbers are like beautiful.
no, I get you. You're not wrong there. It's one of those things. You got the basketballs. I do like the playoffs, so I am watching it. I know the Hawks destroyed the Knicks, which was disappointing as a Knicks fan. I was upset about that.
Is it me or the Hawks player? What's his name? The guy that looks
Trae
old,
Young.
he looks old, but it looks like he just got there a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but and I hate to like judge people and everything, but he looked like crackhead come out of the street and started playing basketball the way he looks. I'm not saying he plays like one, but the way he looks, you would think with the money he has, he'll look better.
Hey man, some of these guys, they're just like right now. He's just focused on the playoffs, man. He don't care about none of that stuff.
Yeah, he needs to get. He's over like what early 20s probably already going balls.
He's really.
It must be stressing him out to be in the NBA.
That's why he's losing all that hair. His hair's so thin.
Yeah, bro. I was like, man, that guy looks old. You're like one of my uncles, and my uncle's already like in the 50s.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But no, so basketball is in full swing in the playoffs. You know, we had a couple other teams eliminated. We had the game 7 between Dallas and LA. LA pulled off that one. That's the Clippers. They squeaked out Dirk.
Yeah, your Knicks lost.
Or old Dirk, or new Dirk, not Dirk. Yeah, the Knicks lost. So there's some pretty good matchups. The Wizard lost, I think, in the playoffs. But there's some good matchups going on now. So it'll be interesting to see. You got Phoenix playing...
I heard there's all new teams though, like people that haven't won it in a long time.
No, not necessarily. I mean, Kevin Durant's still in it. He won it a few years ago. You got Kyrie Leonard, Kyrie Leonard, or I can't pronounce his name. He's still in it. He's won it a few years ago. So I mean, there's a few. I don't know.
So you're talking about the Nets, and the Nets are still in it?
Yeah, the Nets are in it. They just right now they got a 2-0 lead. Kevin Durant won off last game. They beat them by like 30 something points, but it wasn't even close. And that's with Harden hurting his hamstring and being out. It was ridiculous. I got $100 bet.
Do you count the games that Kevin Durant won with the Warriors?
I mean, he gets to count them. I mean, what do you mean?
You're right. He does get to count them, but he went to a team that was already established. He was this extra person there.
I know.
Whatever happened? See, I was watching this podcast. One of the only podcasts too that I watch, and the gentleman brought up a great point. He's like, whatever happened to loyalty, bro? Nobody besides Kobe Bryant, but nobody lives and dies with the team they got drafted. That era's gone.
I think the loyalty died once the players finally got some power, because I mean it's not about loyalty. I hate when people talk about players being loyal to the franchise when the franchise is never loyal to the player, right?
At that point.
Go back and look at what happened. I think because of everything that happened to Jordan,
they leave because
the kids saw that and said, you know what, we're going to start controlling our own destiny then. Screw that, man. If you guys are going to push Jordan out and do that to him, like the franchise doesn't have loyalty. Because if that franchise had loyalty, Jordan would have been rocking whoever he wanted to play with for as long as he wanted because he had the ability to make those calls.
But, valid point.
So forget loyalty. Loyalty's for the birds. Speaking of loyalty, though, I want to talk a little bit about relationships. It's going to be a little bit different tone today. I know it's not our usual topics, but Messiah's in his feelings, so he wants to, bring up some crazy topics. But no, they're good ones. So we're going to talk about what do you do when you're in a bad relationship, right? So, regardless of what dynamic your relationship is, what do you do when you're in a bad relationship and you're unhappy? You don't know if the other person is or not. Maybe you do know, but you yourself is unhappy. Do you stick around? Do you stick it out? Do you get out of that relationship? Like, what do you think?
So, by the way, Generation Shock every Wednesday night, 10 o'clock. Try to be there at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock-ish.
Yeah. And well, this is what I think. Like, it took me a long time to say I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. And there's people that still, like, I've seen relationship go up to the age of 55, right? And they're like, I can't do this anymore. So one of my rules in life have always been, one of my rules in life has always been, a person does not belong to you. You guys probably do love each other. You love your relationship you're in, or not like the relationship you're in. Sometimes you just get accustomed to being in that relationship. And by the way, I'm not a relationship advisor. Disclaimer: I am not a relationship advisor. You don't want to get relationship tips from me.
That's ridiculous.
But one of my rules I've always lived is, because I've learned this through watching shit in my family or friends' family, is somebody can have a change of heart and just leave, and I've seen it. Right. So one thing that doesn't belong to you is that person. And there's a lot of people that get possessive and they feel like that person belongs to them. And that's why you have sometimes those crazy motherfuckers that if a person leaves them, they'll go out there and go psycho and kill them. Right. So sometimes you get those people, they get possessive. But, I'm not saying it doesn't hurt either. But I think if you're not happy, just leave. Don't drag that relationship for a long time. I mean, that's my input on it. I can add more to it, but I can tell Shaq Monster's falling asleep.
No, I'm listening. I'm playing with something as you talk, but that's neither here nor there.
But that's pretty much my 2 cents. What do you think?
I mean, it's hard because every situation is going to be a little bit different, right? So what I mean by that is like, it all depends, like, because like, I mean, if it's still early on in the relationship and somebody's not happy, yeah, get out. And I don't know what you're doing in it still. If it becomes a longer relationship and things like that.
Well, how long is long for you? Because I've seen people been together for 30 years and then one of them have a change of heart and it's done.
And that's fine. But I guess my thing is, though, is how long have you had that change of heart for? Right?
Yeah.
It's
how long have they been holding on because they want to raise the kids or they want the kids to? So but should you put yourself through that? That's not even
what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that nowadays I think people are ready to give up too easy. I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people, because divorce and stuff is available and it's out there, that people, you change as a person. You're going to go through moods where times where you're not, maybe, you have issues with that person or things of that nature, but they're not going to last forever possibly. And you just, there's other things in your life that are going on that you're not aware of. So I think for people to make those jerk reactions, I just think are wrong. I think, if you love somebody, then you love them for a reason. That's just
thick and thin, right?
It just doesn't stop per se, but I think it's just, but yeah, if it continues on and you've tried to see what happens and give it time and it doesn't work, then yeah, get out of a bad relationship. Don't get me wrong. But I also think people are very quick to just be like, fuck it, I'm ready to move on to the next one. The grass is always greener on the other side. So people are wanting to go look for that grass.
That's probably true to an extent now, but we're talking about relationships back in the days that I've seen be together for 30 to 35 to 20 years. And then all of a sudden, the husband or the wife says, "Hey, I'm done."
Yeah,
and then comes up with a bunch of million excuses why they're done.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be all of a sudden. It could be a midlife crisis. There's a lot of factors. Yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, you hear about all the time about midlife crisis, how people go through shit. So.
But do you think that person? Well, we don't know because every scenario is different. But right, so the question would be: should you be in a relationship that you're unhappy?
Like I say, it depends. You have to be more specific. Like, it's hard because it depends on what kind of unhappy you are and things of that. But no, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you shouldn't be in something you're unhappy with. But is it that? But like I say, if you've already invested 10 years of your life and now you're unhappy, I don't think you should just get out right away. I think you gotta see if it's just a phase.
We have a comment and I couldn't read it fast enough. So it says, so are you cool with weeks or stormy days, months, years? What is it? I think that's towards you. I don't know if they're asking me or you, but
yeah, it might be asking me. So that's why I say, I mean, you have to see what your mood is. I don't know. I'd say months, maybe after months. If it gets into years, no, it means time to get out at that
Well,
point, because that's not because nothing's changing. But you know, I guess
I
the
think
thing is, part of the problem, I think there's usually not the communication to even tell the other person or things of that nature to try to work through it. I mean, if you're keeping these things inside, that there's stuff going on with that person that you're not happy with, and you don't tell them anything, then that's on you at the end of the day too.
yeah, I think that's very key. Communication is gonna be one of the key. Again, we're not relationship advisors. It's just a good topic. I think it's one of those topics that we get caught up talking for a long time. So here's what I think. You brought up a good point. Communication is a big factor. I think one of the biggest things for me that I've learned through my past, what I've learned through my past relationships, what I've learned even in the relationship I'm in now, trust is the biggest thing. The biggest thing in that, right? So the minute you fuck that up, no matter how small it might seem to you, that already it's red flags, right? Especially early in a relationship and all that. All of a sudden your room got dark. Check monster.
I mean, my room got dark.
Yeah, your area got dark. Anyway, so I think communication is one thing. Two, I think too many people try to change it just to please the relationship early. Their true colors are not really who they are. They're happy. They're in love. They're in that the first week, first month stage where they're saying yes to everything. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this, instead of being themselves. I think that's one of the biggest things that happens in a relationship. And then all of a sudden, a person gets caught up being their normal self, and then that become unhappy for the rest of their lives for however long they are with them. And I do agree that people don't try anymore. They just be like, fuck it, I'm done.
No, I get you. I do. I definitely think you're right. There's that like honeymoon phase of people. They'll act differently than what their normal nature is. But hopefully, you're not married then at that point, so you just break up because, if either you got married way too quick or damn that dude held or that person was able to fake it for a long time. So it's one of those crazy things. But
how about a shotgun marriage?
Listen, those things happen, and some of them last forever. Some of them don't. I mean, it's all, everybody's different. It's hard.
It all depends the generation you grew up with and how you're gonna handle the relationship. Because I know before I have my aunt and uncles that used to fight all the time, and they will love each other and they still with each other, but they're like, you was from the distance they will seem dysfunctional, but from when you get to know them, they'd rather die for each other, right? But you would think that then how's that relationship function by the way they are? And it's just that works for them. That's another thing, right? A relationship is between you and that person, and nobody else needs to know that relationship. Otherwise, you're gonna get too many people try to give you advice that don't even qualify to give you advice, and they're gonna fuck it all up. And then you're gonna start thinking and living in that world.
No, you're right. That's why it's tough. I mean, every relationship, it's just, there's so many variables that it's hard for me to really comment on it too much. I think that's where the problem comes in, because it's not like, I don't know. So it's just, some people want, because everybody's different on how they're going to do it and how they're going to handle it and what they're going to tough out. So it's a really tough topic, honestly, to really get into too much.
Okay, it's a talking point.
I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying, it's hard for me to really comment because everybody's different. Like I've been in relationships where I feel like I was toughing it out and suffering and stuff like that. And then, and then I'm in relationships that I just, I'm just like, I don't even, before it even starts, I'm just like, I ain't doing this.
All right. So let's use a scenario, right? Let's think about this. Should two people be in a relationship for the sake of the kids, even if they're not happy?
It depends on, I mean, if they can make it work in front of the kids, then I think it's better for the kids in the long run. But not a lot of people can make that work. They can't really, they can't be cordial around the kids enough to make it. Now it also depends on how old the kids are, right? Like if we're talking about, you know, if they're infants and stuff where they don't know anything yet, then maybe not. If they're like, you know, closer to you know, there's a lot of factors in that too, because you want your kids to be happy, but they're not going to be happy if they see you fighting all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do you do then?
Yeah, you try your best, right? And then if it gets too toxic, then you'll be like, that's it, I'm done. But how long do you wait? See, that's the thing, though. How long does a person wait?
You're asking it like there's a number. There is no.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what there's obviously that's gonna be variant with individual. That's gonna be different with every individual is gonna have their own. I said I can't deal with this shit anymore, right? But do you think religion plays a part in relationships? Well, saves relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it saves but religion does play a part. There are religions that forbid divorce, right? I think religion plays a factor in everything that people do, you know, when it comes to most of the major things in life, you know. But yeah, I definitely think religion has a factor in whether people are going to try to stick it out or, you know, and stay together, or if they're going to separate.
Well, here's the reason why I brought up this topic. I was watching 90 Day Fiance with my wife. Yes, I do watch 90 Day Fiance. My wife got me hooked on it and gives me something to talk about. So yeah, I was watching that episode, right? And Kalani, right, is one of the relationship people in it. She's having issues with her boyfriend, her husband at the time. It's her husband, but she's fed up because she doesn't like the fact the way he is and who he is and the mind games that he played. It's not that he's done some stupid things like play on her and none of that. It's mostly like a stressed out thing. Like, I can't deal with this shit anymore. Some days he's good, some days he's bad. He goes on tantrums, he leaves me alone, and she just can't deal with it. But they're Samoans, right? So he's Samoan, and she's also Samoan, but she was born here. So she's at the point where she's like crying because she's like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't deal with the changes of some days he's good, some days he's bad, and I can't deal with it, right? And he uses a form of manipulation and all that. And she's like, they have 2 kids, right? They have 2 kids. So now she's talking to the father. The father talks to her. Well, she talks to the mother. The mother's like, you know, you should just, you know, if you're not happy, you're going to do whatever you want to do. But me and your father, we stood it out together. And now she's talking to her father. Her father said, well, in our culture, we don't divorce. We figure it out. The problem is that you're like quitting on a person. You got to try. He's changing. And like he's trying to tell her, like, me and your mom went through some shit and we stood it out. We're still together and we raised you. And in my head, I'm thinking, so she's over here crying that she doesn't want to be in that relationship. And because of the culture, she has to stick with him. And that's why I wanted to like, and that's why I brought up the topic. I'm like, that's not fair to her. She's suffering.
Yeah, but the thing, I mean, I get what you're saying, but, you know, like, I know Leonardo said something about your kids are separate, but at the same time, you're responsible for your children. You're the ones who made the choice to have them or didn't make the choice to have them, but they're your responsibility. So it's not completely separate because as a parent, unfortunately, you have to make sacrifices for your children. If that means being unhappy,
it's no longer about you.
Unfortunately,
it's about the kids.
Then yes, you have to be unhappy. It's what's best for the kids. And I don't think it's a wrong mind view or a point of view for them to say, like, you know, is part, you know, sometimes the reason you're unhappy is not because of the other person, it's because of yourself. Are you doing what you need to do to try to change to make the relationship better? Or are you being as stubborn as the other person and not wanting to change anything and then getting pissed off that they're not changing anything, right? Like there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of variables in it, but I think at the end of the day, you know, you make a choice. This is like when people remember back in the, like, the whole thing comes back from the olden days, right? When in the olden days, when you talk about not having divorce and all that stuff, it's because, for instance, if somebody gave you their word or they talked about their family name, that had a sense of honor or pride. Like if I give you my word, then you know I can't break that, right? You're giving vows to that person. You're going to be with them no matter what. That's it. Like you chose to be with that person until death. right? And so you're to stick it out through the good and the bad, and you make a commitment. And I don't think there's anything wrong with those people look at their child and say, look, if this if this wasn't something you were ready to make a commitment on, you shouldn't have done it. Okay, you want to marry this person, you want all this fun part, then you're going to stick it out through the down part too. Whether you like it or not, that's just the way that we believe. Because, not saying we don't know how long the relationship was before they got together or got married, but
90 days.
What was it?
90 days.
There you go. So
they don't know each other long enough. Yeah.
Yeah, you made that commitment. You have to stick it out. In life, we all have to live with our choices, right? So you make a bad choice or make a wrong decision, you got to live with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, but we live in a different era, right? We live in an era like
I think, make it better though? I don't think it does.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's
but
why
I think
never
the problem,
got married, man. I'm not. There was nobody. I wasn't ready to commit to anybody. Once I get married, I'm doing it once, man. I'm not doing it twice. Like, I'll make sure, damn sure that it's the right person.
Yeah, and it's good because you value the vows, right? You value that. You grew up but valuing that, and you think that's nothing to joke around with, right? Yeah. But like you mentioned earlier, like, it's all about your kids now. Now that you have kids, it's all about your kids, right? Until what age do you say, okay, now it's my turn? Why you gotta wait till you're like? And I'm not saying, again, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying you shouldn't live for your kids, because once you have kids, you should live for your kids. But you should also have some me time. You have to have that, right?
Yeah. So that's, which is fine.
You have to be able to balance that. But I think if in her scenario, the 90-day fiance scenario that I brought up, she's not happy the way he is. And you watch the shows. I mean, you don't watch it, but I've watched it where he's like and mind you, this is edited, so you're gonna get the drama where he'll flip and this and that. But you see in this person crying, and you think, for based on what you've seen, she's trying to she's being patient enough to change, but he's not changing. Let's see, right? And then you'd be like, nah, fuck that. Why should she be holding on?
Yeah, but that's what's fake. Is, I mean, you don't know what's really going on. They're editing that shit for you to feel a certain way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know.
But if you think about it, there's some scenarios, real life scenarios in life that is like that people hold on because, one, culture, two, religion. They have to be in something unhappy. Like, it's crazy.
Listen, that's like saying you're going to quit your job every time you're unhappy with it, right? Like, some people do that, right? And they go,
yeah, but a job and a relationship is two different things.
How are they? No, they're not. They're the same. It's the same thing. You're making you're in a job. You're in a relationship with that workplace. If you're unhappy, you can find another job and quit, right? Or you can decide to stay, right? I mean, it's the same thing. If you're unhappy with your work environment, you can get up and leave. But sometimes there are things that are keeping you stay to put up with the bullshit, right? Either you're too lazy to go look for something else, which sometimes that's what those people are in those relationships, or you can't find anything better. Same thing with those relationships. You don't think you're going to find anything better. I mean, it's similar. So.
Do you think communication plays a big role?
I think it's a huge role. I think that's the problem is people don't talk anymore. They're too busy on all their social devices.
Yeah, that is true.
So,
yeah, that is one of the biggest things to make people break up. But anyways.
Yeah, we were talking about the part of the kids. The other thing I think as parents, besides trying to stick it out for the kids that, we want to talk about was where do you, I forget what the expression is. Spare the rod, spoil the child, or some shit.
I've never heard of it, so I can't correct you on that.
But how do you handle things with kids, right? Every parent wants to give their kids the world, but when is there a fine line that you need to draw? When is it too much? Once again, it goes back to the way parenting used to be, where people were a lot more strict. They made them do a lot more stuff and everything. And we've gotten lackadaisical. Millennials, they say feel like they're entitled and all this stuff. So what do you think?
Well, as a parent, I give you my scenario, and this isn't the print of the scenario, right? This should. I'm not saying this is the way it is, but this is what I've learned through my life growing up and what I grew up with. Yes, you want to give your child better life than what you lived, right? You want to do that. You want to try your hardest to get there. And you're right. It is more about them than they become the focus factor. But I grew up, I've talked about it in the past, right? I never had my own bedroom until the age of 16, right? I grew up where I didn't have nothing, like literally nothing. I had nothing. Now I had to learn a lot through life. I had to learn that busting your ass is what you get. How you get what you get, right? And I've been lucky enough to been blessed where people taught me, like, hey, they guided me the right way. So this is what I think, and this is how I raised my son. Mind you, I think at the age of 8, and I'm gonna get personal here. I think at the age of 9, I made a decision because I was unhappy in my relationship to leave. He was 8. It was the hardest decision in my life. And I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't do this. And it's not that we fought in front of the child. We didn't. But I wasn't happy. And there was people on the outside that was telling me, you don't look happy. Why are you so negative? This and that. And I never caught on to it until it was brought up. But anyways, so I was able to stay in communication with my son because I was raised by a single mom. And I made a promise, even when my son was born, I made a promise to be there for him and be in a relationship till he's old enough. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. I left at the age of when he was 8 or 9. And through communication, through talking, almost like every year or every week, every year that passed, we would always have constant conversations. And I would tell him, Bobby, work hard. I love you. Come over whenever you want to come over, this and that. We stood in communication. And one of the things I've always told him is, hey, work hard, go get your shit. If I'll be looking from the outside, if you need anything, I'll help you out. I never handed anything to him. I always told him, that's what you want, save up for it. And at that point, I was paying child support. And I'm not saying child support is everything. I'm not saying that. I was paying child support. I was just teaching them how to manage that money. If we needed extra, I gave them extra. And I'm not saying that all the time that I gave them extra. But I taught him and I raised them in believing that work your ass off, don't depend on anybody, and go out there and get your shit. Because there's going to be a point in your life. And when he got older, I told him this. There's going to be a point in your life where I'm not here and your mother's not here. Who are you going to go to when you want something? You're going to work your ass off for it. Right? And there's some resentment on that, right? He's a little bit pissed off because he's hanging around friends that, his mother and him moved to a nice neighborhood, and he's hanging around friends that the parents give him everything. A kid got her license at the age of 16, and they bought her a car and this and this and that. And he wished he had that. I'm like, well, you got your car, right? He's like, yeah, but I work hard for that car. I'm like, don't you feel better that you worked hard for that car? Yes, I couldn't give you that car, but you worked your ass for it. Now you know the value of that car, what it is to get that car. And we've had that conversation. Was it the right thing to do? I don't know. All I know is that he's a straight A student, graduating this year college. He was able to do it. He learned. I've taught him that be ready because I'm not going to be here all your life. Was that the right way to do it? I don't know. But that's how I raised him. He knows that he has to work his ass off. He knows that nothing's going to be given to him. And there's times that he wants to argue that, but I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't have it all to give it to you. So I'm not saying it's the right way, but I don't think the kid should be given everything. Should be given to a kid. They don't learn anything if you give it to them. Me and my son's relationship.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong. I think there's got to be, and this is just speaking from what I believe. I mean, I guess what I would think, but I don't know, because obviously I'm not a parent, so I can't, necessarily comment, with authority on this topic or anything like that. But I believe that it needs to be a mixture, right? For me, I grew up in a childhood where, I didn't get anything I wanted because we were, we didn't have a lot of money and we were poor. I mean, not poor, I would say, but I didn't grow up in, a money home. It was a divorced parents, and it was just me and my dad, but he sacrificed everything he could for me. And it still gave me a work ethic and a drive to do things,
Yep.
I mean, because I wanted to aspire to be able to be higher standards than I had and stuff. So, it goes both ways, because I still got that work ethic. Like you said, you made your son go out and do things. I was given stuff. Like, I got a car at 15 or 16 from my dad, but I was also, doing really good in school, playing 3 sports a year minimum. I was staying out of trouble, like, so I was still working hard and doing things. And that was just a way to earn those things in a way. So, it's every parenting style is different. I think like I say, I think there's got to be a mixture, right? You got to be able, like, to me, I want to be able to give my kids anything they want. But it's got to be up to reason, right? And there's certain things like, yeah, you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to, probably more meet me halfway. You want a car? Cool. You tell me you got $3,000 saved up. I'll give you $3,000. We'll get you a $6,000 car, because that won't be so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's where I say, okay, I'm giving them some, right? But I'm not giving them everything. I'm not just going to buy them the car, unless, like I say, unless it's a situation where, if I got a kid like I was, and, if my kid is getting A's and B's in school and is playing sports in high school and busting their ass and everything and working hard, I'm not going to tell my kids, you got to go out and get a job and get this shit, right? That's what I want you to do. You got to enjoy your childhood. So yeah, I would be more likely to just give them, here, you need $20 to go out with your friends. Here's $20, go out with your friends, right? You need to do this. Okay, cool. Go do this, because you're busting your ass you're working a full-time job after school in your sports, and you're getting good grades, which means you're coming home and studying and doing what you need to do. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be giving my kids shit that they need and they want. If my kid wants a car at 16, where now he doesn't have to depend on other people to get rides back and forth from practice and get to events and tournaments and different things that have to do with the sports, and it makes it easier on me and my wife if I'm married, type of thing, to be able to get back and forth and stuff, then hell yeah, I'm going to buy my kid a car. So
Valid point.
It depends on what's going on. Now, if I got a kid who's not doing anything in sports and it's just average in school, like not even straight A's, like you're just an A-B student in school and you're not playing any sports, you're not doing anything, all right, yeah, I'm sorry, your ass ain't getting everything, right? Your ass is going to have to go out and get a job. You're going to have to earn money. You want to go out this weekend? You want $20? Go check your bank account. You got $20 in it? Right? I'm still paying for your dinner. I'm still, buying you your clothes to a certain degree, but everything else, yeah, you're going to be, that's a different scenario for me. So that kid's going to have to work harder, right? And not harder, but they're going to have to earn their own way. I'm not going to just buy them a car for the sake of buying them a car. You're just going to school. You're below average in what you're doing with your life. So go get a job. Like, tough. That's the way it is. So,
yeah. And one of the biggest things that me and my son used to go back and forth on was basically, but this, but how come this person got it? I'm like, the blessings is that. That's the blessings they got to count, that they were able to get that. Their parents were able to give that. I wasn't born. I wasn't born with that. Like, I had to go out there and bust my ass for everything I have. And I just want to teach you that one day I'm not going to be here, and who are you going to ask for this? I go, now I'm keeping an eye from far away. When I know that you're struggling, I'm here. And he knows that, because I've helped him. Right. But I just wanted him to learn that lesson in his life, that, like the way I look at it, and I might be seeing it wrong, but by the time he was born, and by the time he was already like 4 or 5, by the time he was 8, before I left, he already had more than what I had at that age. Right. So, and the fact that he's graduating 4 years of college, I believe he learned a good lesson in his life, right? Because he's the first one in my family, I believe, to graduate college. In my whole family. It took this generation throughout my whole family to graduate. That's something to be, for me, I'm like, I told him, that's something to be proud of. You're the first one. He's not the first to go to college, but he's the first to graduate 4 years with a degree. So I told him, you got to be proud of that, And so, and you did that with all your hard work. And my son suffers from mental issues, like depression and all that. So I had to be there for him, at least that way, talking to him on the phone, and having long conversations. And I believe he's an amazing young man, and he has a lot going for him. And you know, I believe that he's still learning, and he you know, by not giving him anything and helping him keeping an eye on him from the distance and help and teaching him that nobody's gonna give you anything, you gotta go there and get it. I don't think it's a bad philosophy. I mean, for me, it's not. You know, and he knows that. Hopefully, he learns that. He understands that it's not that I didn't want to give him things. It's that I wanted to teach him that who's gonna be there for you when I'm gone, right? So, enough about the parenting.
Yeah, no, real quick, there was a question on here. How would you know? How would you prevent them from learning a hard association between work and reward? Because while true for most cases, it can set up expectations that the reward comes in an immediate and ... So I didn't get to finish that one. I don't know if you can see more to that.
Let me see. Hold up.
It says something about keeping kids to give up easily on things. I think reward doesn't have to be immediate, right? I don't think you would have to associate rewards with something immediate. You know, if you know a kid gets, like, if I have a kid and they're going into high school and they know they're going to want a car, I'm going to, like I said, there's going to be stipulations set up, right? You're not doing sports, cool. You're going to go and get a job, and you're going to have to save up money. So the reward will be the car, but it's not an immediate thing, right? Because they have to work and save up money in order to make that purchase, right? Yeah. If the kid is playing sports and can't get a job and stuff like that, then there's other expectations they're going to have to meet before they can get their car, right? A certain grade percentage they're going to have to maintain. Yeah. A certain level of hard work in the, you know, in their sports and those types of things that they're going to have to be able to meet and be able to show. So once again, it's not going to be an immediate reward. They're going to have to work and put, you know, time and effort behind a goal that they're trying to accomplish, right?
And that takes about what, 2 years? Right, because they can drive at the age of 16 here, right?
Correct.
So
yeah, that's
they start off freshman,
that's why
13, 14. Yeah,
yeah.
So it's a 2 year. It's that work for 2 or 3 years where they'll get that reward if they put in that time.
And that's what gives them that shown. That's what helps them understand the association between hard work, and hard work can get you rewarded, right? Because I don't think a reward is necessarily something that's immediate, even though I get where you're coming from, that most people probably associate it with that. So.
Well, one of the deals I used to cut with my son when he was young was for every A, it's a certain amount of like dollar. For every B, it's a certain amount of dollar. For every C, it would be that. And then bring me the report cards, and I'll give you your what you earned in your report card in money.
Yeah,
that was one of the deals I used to cut with him.
Yep.
So and we would go out. Every time we would get a report card, we would go out and figure out, okay, this is what you got, right? And there was time where he struggled, and you know, it's all part of it. You're learning from that. You learn that if you bust your ass or if you do something, you get rewarded for it.
Yep. So, all right, I think it's time for the FOH.
So you wanna okay, let's do the intro first, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So it's time. Let's go. Fuck out of here. All right, go ahead. Talk about it.
So last week, we had one of the viewers send. We've been, every time we do fuck out of here, right? We've been telling people, requesting people, hey, if you have your own fuck out of here, record yourself and send it to us. Send this to our email, our Gmail, and go ahead and do it. So we actually had somebody do it. So we've been doing it for 3 weeks already, I believe, and somebody actually sent it. So before we do ours, we're gonna put up the person's fuck out of here, and we're gonna put it on the show because we promised we would do it, and then after that we'll follow up with ours.
All right, ready?
Yep,
let's go.
What's going on, guys? So my fuck out of here moment has to be when you're at a red light and you're just waiting for the light to turn green, but you're not at the front of the line. So the idiot at the front doesn't notice that the light finally turned freaking green and he can go, or she can go, So he's just sitting there wasting everybody's time until somebody finally honks at him and he goes. But then by the time he goes, the light turns yellow and it's going back to red. So guess who's assed out and has to stay there again? Yeah, that's my fuck out of here.
All right, so I'll be honest, I didn't get to hear any of it. I wasn't able to watch. You didn't send it. Like, I forgot you sent it when you did, and I didn't get to listen to it, so I had no clue what she said. So I'm gonna have to go back out and watch the fuck out of here segment when you post it to figure out what she said, because I got no clue.
She was talking about the red light, the go move, motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
Fuck out of here for doing all that. So shout out to Natasha. For sending out the clip.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So anybody else watching this, or either now live or watching the recording of it, go ahead and send us your fuck out of here. You know, your frustration. This is your perfect time to vent. Do it. We'll put you on the show. We actually have a playlist, so I do edit this and I put it on the playlist, and it's called the FOH playlist. And then we're just gonna go out there and vent it. So for my fuck out of here, this is gonna be my thing. Yesterday, I witnessed something that I haven't witnessed in years, and I never thought I was going to see it in person. I was catching Pokemons. I was me and two other people. We were up walking around lakefront catching Pokemons, and from far away, I see this guy arguing with this woman, and I think he's yelling at the kids because I don't see who he's arguing with. All I see is, open the door one more time. Open the door one more time. Go ahead, and he's slamming on the door. So he's trying to get into his car and leave, but I guess the person in the back tries to open the door and get out, and he kept on arguing. So I thought it was kids. So I'm like, I ignored it, looked down, and I started, catching my Pokemon. But then when I look up, the car's rolling by itself, and I see him chasing her. And it was actually a woman. I can't say a girl, a woman. So he's chasing her. The car is going by itself. He catches her in the middle of the road. He grabs her by the head, drags her in the middle of the street. One of the guys that are with me say, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" And then two guys come running out of nowhere, right? And then just start hitting them, right? And be like, "You want to hit her? You want to hit a woman? Hit me." So that's not my fuck out of here. My fuck out of here is the woman that's recording all this, and she's on her phone recording the whole shit happen, and she's saying, "Somebody call 911." Bitch, get off your phone and you call 911 and start recording this damn shit. You need to, that's the person that you're like, you wonder how those footages happen. You know what? Instead of recording this shit, you should have called 911 while everything was happening. So that's my fuck out of here with this. Stop recording and do something about it. Now, mind you, I didn't jump in. I'm no hero. Yeah, call me a coward. I'm no hero. In Florida, everybody has a strap. I don't trust nobody. But the two people that were with me, they were like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And then two other people came in and they started fighting. But me, I was like, holy shit, this shit's really happening.
Only in Florida.
So fuck out of here.
Only in Florida,
with the person that's recording.
Oh my goodness. Gotta love Florida.
Call me a coward. I don't care.
Oh boy. So mine is a update on last week's, right? Remember last week I was telling you about my niece and prom and all that shit? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And she unfortunately got tested positive for COVID, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so comes in to be a couple days later, and all of a sudden my sister starts having these migraines, and they're just like sinus allergies because there's a lot of pollen and shit around here, so allergies are really bad in this area. Like there's just a lot of dust and shit in the air. So she goes into the doctor to, get checked up and everything. And she's been fully vaccinated and everything. So she just needs to get some sinus medication. Nothing, no big deal. But I guess while you're there, everybody has to be tested for COVID because that's just the new cool thing to do. Because anytime you have any sickness, they blame it on COVID. I heard a rumor, and I know I preface it's a rumor, but I heard a rumor that last year that there were 0 cases of the flu. But you know why?
Yeah, because COVID.
Because everybody that had the flu symptoms had COVID somehow. So yeah, it's just funny how that shit works. But anyway, to make a long story short, she went in and she is the 0.09% or whatever it is that is fully vaccinated and got COVID.
What?
Yep.
So she's fully vaccinated and got COVID?
She was the first one in the house to be fully vaccinated. She was taking care of her daughter, and then fuck out of here. She caught COVID. So guess what happened?
I told you it could happen.
Guess
even
what
if you're vaccinated.
Yeah, guess what happened?
What?
We had to cancel my niece's graduation party. My dad canceled his tickets to come up here and see us. And we don't even know what we're going to do Friday about graduation because the kid that's graduating, she comes off quarantine tomorrow. So graduation's on on Saturday. So she was able to just make it. So it's a clusterfuck of shit. Here. So yeah, fuck out of here with this bullshit. Fucking.
So COVID's real.
Take our masks
Is that what you're telling me?
Let's do everything.
So you're telling me COVID's real?
I mean, I can't tell you COVID's real. No.
Well, you said she got COVID even though she got the vaccine.
Yeah, I correct. But I can go to the doctor and cut off my finger and them tell me it's COVID. Right?
So you're saying they're saying this just to charge you more?
No, because I don't think they're charging you more for it. I think that they're just doctors and people are just lazy and they just want to put everything on COVID instead of diagnosing you for what may be actually wrong.
But what if it is COVID? Like they diagnosed it with?
Sure, if it is, that's different. But I don't think every case of somebody being sick is COVID. Fuck out of here, dude. Not everything's COVID. But before there was COVID, she felt like this at times. It's allergies. There's other things going on. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think part of the problem.
You know, there's a government pay incentives for hospitals or insurances.
Yeah, you know what the other problem is?
That take care of COVID.
The other problem is that I think a lot of it is subconscious and like in nature and stuff, meaning, you know, I can almost guarantee I had caught COVID at some point, right?
I think so too.
Because I never got tested, it never lingered, right? There's no lingering effects and stuff, you know, and then but once you diagnose somebody, you tell them they have COVID, now suddenly like people are
it's a mental thing. Yeah. It's like the placebo effect.
Yeah, that's all I was saying.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. All right.
So.
We'll save that. We'll save that because this is an interesting conversation. We'll save that for another day to continue this another day. So, like we said, you want to close us out? You know.
Yeah. So everybody, if you have any FOHs, fuck out of here that you want to add and want to throw on, please send them to us. We'll be happy to post you up on here, let you vent, let you get some things out. Hell, it could be about Messiah, you know, and his take on anything. I mean, I know you guys are watching this and you want to tell him to fuck out of here. So
yeah, you'd be like, yo, who the fuck are you? And why didn't you jump in when they were dragging that lady? Yeah,
right?
Do it.
So
fuck
go
out of here
ahead,
with that
send that shit over. Don't forget to subscribe, like, tell your friends. And until next week, we out.
We got the right stuff. We put the hammer right there.